I've always had a desire to help other people. It's just simply the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you do it because you care about the church.
Yeah.
You want things to reflect our love
Mm-hmm.
of Jesus Christ. And that's what it's all about.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 77th podcast called Renew Your Mind. And today I'm solo here, solo moderator Dana Hall, and I have Linda Ryan as my guest. And we're going to delve into a little bit of the behind the scene jobs at the First United Methodist Church. And really it's behind the scene jobs at a lot of different churches.
Yeah.
So we left off our last podcast about, it's a new year. How can a person, if they're not as active in the church as they might want to be, or maybe they've held back, and just we want to give people ideas on how they can help in more of a behind the scenes and not in front of the people. So today we're going to talk about the Altar Guild, and you may or may not know what the Altar Guild is. So I'm going to ask Linda if she might tell us a little bit about that.
The Altar Guild is a selection of people, a few people, usually just a couple,
Okay.
that do the things that we often take for granted in the church.
Mm-hmm.
At Christmas time, the poinsettias are put out. The pews are filled with the papers that we need and the books that we need. The church is, they make sure everything's tidy, that everything's ready for the worship service.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything needed for the pastor up there, if there's decorating to be done, if there's communion to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a time-consuming process. Although right now, because of the COVID situation, we aren't cutting the bread and doing all of the things we normally would do. There are so many things that go into that, and making sure that the money, the envelopes are in the pews, making sure that there are envelopes available for people, paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many things that go on behind the scenes that we all take for granted. I never used to think about, well, who prepared this? Who did this? Who did that?
Yeah.
And there's so much. And knowing how to do it and when to do it and all the different holidays in the church to prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
The flowers just don't appear out of the blue. Someone has to go and order those, pick them up, bring them to the church, and then decorate the church with them.
Okay.
And it's a lot of work, and at Easter time as well. And it's just interesting. And many things go on that we just take for granted.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think if I understand it right, I'll call it the changing of the claws and the things up at the altar follow a liturgical calendar. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Right. And I believe Karen Hervella and her husband Doug take they lead that small group, correct?
Yes, they do. And we ask for a few little volunteers here and there when we're putting the flowers out. We ask for people to come in, or if we need help moving things around or whatever's necessary, setting things up. We do ask for help.
Okay.
And people are always very willing to help. And most people are able.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that sounds, and it's flexible too,
yes,
correct?
It is.
And you do it just to pick a certain day, or is it flexible
Usually
based on
To
schedules?
do it we know flowers aren't going to last too long.
Sure.
So you don't want to get them up too soon.
Yeah.
Or take them down too late. The petals are all over the place and whatever. And various things like that. The same thing with the altar covers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They are seasonal and they're very significant. The same thing with the at Christmas time, the Advent wreath and the candles, and making sure candles are in good shape.
Okay.
And that they're usable. And at Christmas Eve service, the little candles,
Uh-huh.
and go through and make sure all the batteries are working if we're using battery operated
Oh,
ones.
I guess that could be a scare.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's great fun. And I'm making sure the candles are all in their little places where they need to be.
Okay.
It's just all those things.
Yeah. Well, at our last podcast we had with Reverend Nail, and he shared information on the Advent season. And so when you mentioned the Advent was part of the altar guild responsibility, I think that kind of helps us go right into this podcast.
Right.
Like how did you get involved in this small group of people that take care of the changing out of the altar garden and maintaining it?
Well, I'm kind of one of those people that you ask me to do something, and I'm probably going to do it if I can. And I try to do some things that are out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
But most of the time, it's something I just feel called to do. And actually, it was Doug and Karen who asked me if I would be interested in helping with that. And they were looking for someone to take over. And I said, sure. And it's just a small thing. It doesn't take, you're not tied down with it. It's just something you have to do. Do, and you do it because you care about the church.
Yeah.
You want things to reflect our love of Jesus Christ. And that's what it's all about, and making the church beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said. And did you feel like, I guess, think back to when you helped when people asked you to help in small ways in other areas of your life, did you find that helped you grow in your understanding of maybe the church or Jesus or God or any?
Yes, very much so. I've always had a desire to help other people. It's just simply the way it is. And I don't know why, it's just the way it is. And God had a plan, I guess. And I have this desire to do my part.
Yeah.
I want to do my part. I want to help with every activity that I can. It's just fun.
Well,
and I feel like we're serving God in some way, whether it's earning money for mission, which, most of the money goes to, or whatever it is. I just want to do something to reflect my love of God.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Linda. I love how you said that. So tell me we'll go back to a couple of the mechanical things, and then like care of the linens in is it the paraments?
Yes, paraments.
Did I pronounce that? So tell us a little bit about that, colors, or actually, what is a parament?
Well, they are cloths that we put over the altars and things like that, and that hang on the front of the diocese.
Yes.
And those cloths represent the season of the church. Those things are not washable. They have to be dry cleaned.
Oh, yes.
You can't just throw them in the wash machine.
Okay.
And they are put up according to the season in the church.
Okay.
And Pentecost is red, and there's just all kinds of different colors that represent different times of the year. And they usually have some depiction on them, embroidered or designed in such a way that they reflect that season of the church year. And when it comes to Easter, I believe it's purple.
Okay.
I think it's purple, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
And this is just an important part of of expressing our seasons of the church. And following Jesus's life, and we want to show that we understand that, and it helps us. I think it helps us just by seeing them. I'm always fascinated every time we change the paraments.
How it's so beautiful.
They're so beautiful, and they're just beautiful.
Yeah. And I never knew who changed out these linens and paraments until until I found and heard about the altar guild. So, how about the needlework? Was that completed by anyone?
It's
in the
done
church?
professionally.
It
no,
is.
I don't, not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Now there are people who will purchase them for the church sometimes if we're in need of them. Some family will want to make that donation.
Sure.
And that's a wonderful, wonderful gift to the church.
Okay.
But but the church would buy them otherwise, and we go through the channels that the church uses to get those things, and they're and you get to pick out the designs and things that you want, and they're just wonderful.
Okay. How about we talked about the Advent candles, but what about the two candelabras standing by the communion table?
Yes.
Is there anything we need that you can share with us about those?
Those are supposed to be the light of God, and so when we go in there, when we light those, it's to signify God's presence with us. And when they're put out, it means the light is never completely out. Our acolytes relight their apparatus they use to turn them off and on, or snuff them out. That's the word. Snuff them out. I'm trying to think of the right words. And but the I don't know what the name of it is, but the apparatus they carry is lighted, and that goes out of the church and is a continuation of God. And we are to take it with us
for the week.
We're supposed to and should realize that we're taking God with us, and we're going to try to behave in a way that our Savior would want us to behave. This is a reminder to us that just because those two candles go out, the light doesn't go out.
Okay. That's a really good reminder for us as we try to work through our work week, because I'm not sure that I associated those two particular candles with how you just explained it. So thank you.
Very important.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think. What about when there's a baptism or a wedding? Do all those, I assume all those linens and et cetera have to be changed out?
Yes. And like when there's a baptism, we have to make sure that the fount is ready for the water and everything. And we try to put warm water in there.
Oh, yeah. Very important for those little babies.
And yes, and it's such a wonderful thing to watch a child be baptized. It's just, I was baptized till I was 12 years old.
Oh,
so to me that was.
I don't.
Oh my gosh! It was just, it was so powerful, so very powerful. And we see these little infants, and of course, who doesn't love an infant anyway?
Oh, of course.
And the families, but they make their commitment, and the congregation makes their commitment to nurture this child and continue to help educate them in our faith and to support them whenever they need support and be there for them. And I think that's so important.
I do too. Brings us together as a church family, doesn't it?
We are a family. We are a family, and it's just hugely important. And pastor, I'm sure that's got to be one of the favorite things that pastors do is to baptize.
I think Pastor Paul had his hands full literally when he baptized the twins not too long ago. So,
it's wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, is there? I want to put a little. Is there anything else you want to add before anything else? I mean, I guess just off the cuff, anything that you haven't talked about that I haven't covered.
Okay. There is so much that goes on behind the scenes in this church. And I think any church, there are so many people who are doing so many things. You can take it right down to the coffee hour. People who are willing to take the time to bake something or put something on a table and fix the coffee and participate in any activity. The same thing with the pasties and the rummage sales and all of the things that the ladies do in the church.
Oh, absolutely.
And they give huge amounts of money. And no one person can do those jobs. It's a family of people working together to try and accomplish these wonderful things. Our funeral services.
Oh, yes.
Our funeral services and the luncheon afterwards. and just being there for the families when they are in such deep sorrow.
Yes.
It's huge. And there's just so many things. And also just our cleaning people and keeping the church in order.
Oh yeah, that's a great comment.
Yes.
Yeah, and because they're in and out of here.
Oh, yeah, we don't hardly even see them. And
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. And they come quietly in, and there are members of the congregation who make sure the bathrooms have soap and they're decorated properly and that everything is clean. And I remember when we had the refuge here in the church.
Yes.
We would be cleaning the bathrooms and everything. Every day they were cleaned so that when the folks who were homeless come back in, everything is clean. There's there's soap, there's toilet paper, there's lotion there's, all the little things that we just take for granted.
Yeah. Yes.
They're just done. And it's like a fairy comes in and does it. But there are people who do it.
Well, I think that's a wonderful note. We'll kind of start to wind it down, but I hope that the people listening to this podcast, maybe, and I hope a portion of what we talked about touched their hearts.
Well, I hope so too.
And we're, specifically, we would love to have a couple of other behind the scenes people to help with, especially the Altar Guild.
Yes.
But there's all these other things that you mentioned.
Are so many things.
Yeah,
it's just, and I'm probably missing a lot of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And I am too. But we'll have future podcasts on the women behind the church.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Like, as you mentioned, they do so much.
Yes.
And I think we're going to talk about some techie people that are, they don't want to get.
We take all of that
Yes.
for granted. Those people back there working those screens, which I'm not one of them because it would be disastrous. but I think that, and the choir.
And the choir, yes.
I mean, these people commit themselves. And how beautiful it is.
Yes.
Just how beautiful and amazing. And I wished I could sing. But
I wish I could too.
The Lord, that wasn't one of my talents.
Not one of mine either.
And I think many of us take our work in the church outside of the church.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And for instance, for myself, I manage the caring closet in town, and I consider that a mission. And our women's groups support us financially.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
And tell us what the caring closet is.
The caring closet is a place for people who are unemployed, underemployed, or low income can come in and get free clothing, household items, decorations for their home, shoes, boots. We have a children's room. We have a teen room. We have
you have a lot.
Yeah, and men's rooms and ladies' rooms and all kinds of things. And anything we think that a homeless person can use, we give them free. And there is a donation can. It's only there because I think it's a good way to have them feel as if they have contributed something, whether it's a wooden nickel, it doesn't matter. They put something in the can so they feel like they've done something to earn that. And we try really, really hard to meet the need of the community. And because I've been involved in the homeless refuge, I'm very aware of the need in our community and how many people are out there that are in that area of their life where, for whatever reason, there are a trillion billion reasons why people are in those situations, and try never to look down.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're human beings who are struggling. Whatever the reasons for struggling, it doesn't matter. And sometimes I always think of the one Christmas time just a year ago. A lady came in who was fairly new to Gaylord. And we had a Christmas tree and we had decorations and she had children and she was a single mom and she had found a place to live, and she was just in tears because we gave her the tree and all the lights and decorations and things to take home so she could decorate wherever she was living.
And make it special for her children.
And she was in tears. She was so grateful. And that just fills our hearts.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what we're about. We're there to help people. We're there to do things that can improve someone's life. Let them know that someone loves them.
Okay.
in spite of themselves.
Well, I kind of sense another podcast that we can do in the caring closet in the future too. So,
Yes.
All right. Well, that's wonderful, Linda. I really, really appreciate you spending your time
My
with us.
pleasure.
And again, we can't say enough about Karen and Doug Hervella
Oh,
that lead
they're
up the
just
Altar Guild.
amazing people.
Thanks for speaking on their behalf. We'll end the podcast with that. We're coming to you from the First United Methodist Church of Gaylord, Michigan, and we're located on 215 South Center Street. And you can learn more about us on our website, or you can call the office at 989-732-5380. We have a 9 a.m. traditional service. We have a 10:45 contemporary service. And our senior pastor is Paul Grunberg, and our youth and family director, Jeremy Theroux. And we would love to have you join us in person or via the radio or via Facebook. So thanks everybody for listening.